so distinctive, it's so hard, but once I reach this result, oh, it's going to be so easy for me. No, no, no. If it's crushing you now, difficult is you. We're going to do a call this week, and I already know exactly what you're going to do. A lot of fighting yourself from going back. Energy easier if every time you left and you have to make videos on your phone. Sure, a happily married couple who have a running joke in their relationship. Not
Yeah, so I was saying that whatever. I was saying that things get scattered if you don't work upon them. If your body is constantly working to keep it alive. If it doesn't do the work to maintain its temperature, to do the body's cellular functions and all, then it is gonna die. What does dying mean? It means it is gonna merge with its surroundings. I am visible, right? I just wanna see for a second. When I am over here. Yeah, maybe. Not perhaps not that clearly, but perhaps.
frequently, the husband looks at the wife with faux.
Yeah, and so the point which caught me, which forced me to think, is that John asks the people on the people with who he's on call on his clients. It's a group coaching call. He asks them that ask yourself how much work are you putting in weekly to make yourself and maintain yourself distinguished, to maintain your distinguishability. How much work are you putting in? And then I realized that, oh, if work is not put into anything which is a part of the nature, and humans are a part of the nature, then it stops being distinguished and it merges with the nature. So let's say for our coaching business, let's say for my Instagram's personal brand, if I don't work on it every single day, every single week, if I don't put enough work in, then a part of it merges with the surroundings. Part of me sounds like everyone else. Part of me looks like everyone else. Part of me doesn't look unique. And so work has to be put in. Every single day we have to post, we have to put stories, that is work. We have to post our original thoughts to look different. Post as much as I can to look different. Yeah, so work has to be put in to distinguish. Let's oh I can just resume it for here.
Contrast and says to her, "Can't you just be normal?" They both smile and laugh.
By the way, for context, this is John reading Jeff Bezos' letter which he sent to the annual letter which he sent to his staff, or I don't know, the entire Amazon staff, as his last letter as a CEO. Jeff Bezos' last letter as a CEO to the Amazon company. He's reading that.
And of course, the deep truth is that her distinctiveness is something he loves about her. But at the same time, it's also true that things would often be easier, take less energy if we were a little more normal. Now, I'm going to pause real quick and I want you to think to yourself, right? Do you ever, any of you guys at any point in your journey, you might think to yourself, man, wouldn't it just be a little bit easier if there was a shift posted for me for this week? Someone to tell me exactly what to do, somewhere to go and clock into? Quite frankly, yes, right? But you chose to be an entrepreneur, did you not?
Hmm.
Exactly. So if you want a beautiful wife, are you going to have to put up with more shit and more craziness than you would with some ugly chick that just knows her place? Absolutely. When you make sorry, laughing always cracks me up, but when you make a lot of money, is there going to be more problems that you have to solve, right? I
100%.
took my Ferrari right to the shop the other day simply to cover something that was supposed to be under warranty. Come to find out, the wrap shop messed it up, and on a normal day, I had to pay $9,000 just to drive my car again, right?
Hmm.
Super annoying. Wouldn't it just be easier if I was just back in my Acura? Sure, but is
This is exactly what Andrew Tate says about being a high value man. He says that when you're at the highest echelon, women are prepared to share you. They know that if they want something reliable, which works every single time, which doesn't cheat, which is loyal to me, then they can go for a Toyota. But if they want the highest echelon car, they go for a Bugatti, they go for a McLaren, they go for something high tier, they go for something of the highest echelons.
reality that I wanted?
Yeah, so if you want the top tier cars, you go for a Bugatti, you go for a McLaren, it comes with problems. Just like John said, he had to pay $9,000 just for his car to work. I don't have that problem yet. I know I'm gonna have it one day, but it's so true. It's so fucking true. It's refreshing to hear it from someone else as well. It confirms it. I'm just gonna get some water and then be back.
No, right? Wouldn't it just be easier if every time you left and you have to make videos on your phone, you didn't have to go through the mental energy of making videos and everyone looking at you or setting up your tripod in the gym? Why can't you just work out without having to video yourself like everyone else? Wouldn't it be easier? Yes, it would fucking be easier, but you wouldn't be able to make the money. You wouldn't be able to dictate when you work. You wouldn't be able to tell yourself, I want to wake up at this time, I want to make money at this time, I want to post videos, and I want to create a distinctive life for myself. That is the blessing that 99% of people in this world have decided to trade off. They
Mm,
decided to trade off their distinctiveness in order to have security, in order to have that little income.
that's a nine to
I
five.
want to know that it's coming in every month instead of being able to make 5 times that, but it's not guaranteed. Why? Because then you don't have to fight as hard to distinguish yourself from the equilibrium, right? So follow me, right? At the same time, it's also true that things would often be easier, take less energy if we were a little more normal. This phenomenon happens at all scale levels. Democracies are not normal. Tyranny is the historical norm. If we stopped doing all of the continuous hard work that is needed to maintain our distinctiveness in that regard, we would quickly come into equilibrium with tyranny. We all know that distinctiveness, originality, is valuable. We are all taught to be yourself. What I'm really asking you to do is to embrace and be realistic about how much energy it takes you to maintain that distinctiveness. The world wants you to be typical in 1,000 ways it pulls at you. Don't let it happen. You have to pay a price for your distinctiveness, and it's worth it. The fairy tale version of be yourself is that all the pain stops as soon as you allow your distinctiveness to shine. This is the fairy tale that we all have in our head, and it's never gonna go away, but that's okay. Oh, once I get to X result, everything's gonna be great.
No,
Once I get that
that doesn't
apartment,
happen.
everything's gonna be great. Oh, bro, once I move out and I have $100,000 coming into my bank account every single month, everything's gonna be great. No, 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 no. That is the lie. That is the lie. Every
100%.
level that you move up, your distinctiveness.
What my thoughts are on what just John said about once I have $100,000 coming in, once I have, once I move out this apartment and I have my dream apartment, then everything is gonna be different. That is totally not the case. Because the best quality about humans is that we adapt. As soon as we adapt to something, as soon as we get something, we adapt to it. And then we find different gaps in our life, different problems, and then we start solving them. That is the baseline of human evolution. That is why we created the wheel, then the car, then the rockets, and then a different car, and then a more luxury car, and then more stuff. We keep creating more stuff. We created AI because we just identified the gap because we were already habituated to the thing before that. Did we really need AI to survive? Absolutely not. We were fine with just fucking wheels and hunting. We were fine with that. But we define the problems ourselves once we get adapted to a new baseline. Then there are new problems. And then you climb that. And then there are new problems. In my case, when I made my first ever rupee online, when I made my first ever dollar online, my money, it was $2. 150 rupees, $2, less than $2. That was my first payment for a consultation call. And I was feeling out of this world. I couldn't process the emotions I was feeling. I recorded the video and I was like, I can't believe someone paid me to speak to me. I can't believe this is happening. I was just overwhelmed. $2. But now I have thousands and thousands of dollars in my bank and it is not sufficient. Big payments, thousands and thousands of dollars. I have experienced that, and now I'm adapted to that. And now I want $10,000 payments. Then I'm gonna want $100,000 payments. Then I'm gonna want $1 million payments. Then I'm gonna want 10 million, 100 million, $1 billion payments. So I think life never settles. The only beauty of life lies in the fact that we get adapted and then we have to set and then we set new targets and keep chasing. The chase is where the life is. The chase is where the life is. There is no destination. There are things you get in the way, like providing for others, providing a life for others as a byproduct of your competence. But there is really no destination. So I 100% agree with Mark. John Mark.
Becomes greater, and what happens, the more energy, the more time, and the more just passion that you have to put into fighting yourself from going back to normal.
Hmm.
So the higher you go up, the harder it is. So
Oh,
everyone sits here, and the outside, the normies, the bugs that you guys have already chosen you're not going to be, and you're working your ass off every day to show that you're not those people. But what society wants us to be is looks at the Elon Musks, and it's like oh, he doesn't need any more money. He doesn't this. No, 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 no. Elon works 180 hours a week because that's the only thing that keeps him.
wait a second. How many hours are there in a week? 7 times 24. That's 140 plus 28. There are, wait, what? 24 times 7. That's 28. There are 168 hours in a week, if I'm not wrong. It can't be 180 hours a week. 24 times 7. Yeah, 168 hours in a week.
Doesn't need any more money. He
That was
doesn't this.
wrong,
No, no,
John.
no, no.
Unless it
Elon
was
works
a
180
metaphor.
hours a week because that's the only thing that keeps him from reaching the equilibrium and everything coming and crashing.
Hmm.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. So a lot of you guys have signed up for this. I'm looking at one of you right now who just texted me, right? And I
Oh,
admire you, bro.
wait. This is why I lost my physique. I didn't work to keep it distinguished. I didn't put in the work. That's why I lost the physique. I have to do more work. Perhaps.
We're going to do a call this week, and I already know exactly what you're going to tell me. And now, I'm not saying that it's bad to feel this way. I still fight these battles in my head, right? But what you have to do as a coach, as a leader, as someone who wants to lead over other
Leader.
people and direct other people,
Hmm.
is you have to be able to withstand the burden.
Hmm.
You have to be able to withstand the burden. So you guys are always like, oh man, so difficult. Oh man, I'm so distinctive. It's so hard. But once I reach this result, oh, it's going to be so easy for me. No, no, no. If it's crushing you now, you're going to get smothered when you move up another level. You're
100%.
toast. You're done. You're fucked. So look at it as a blessing. Oh, it's so difficult. How can I wake up? Bro, let me ask you this question. If you're struggling with your 5 clients and your 9 to 5 job and you have some rent due and you have to pay some bills here and there and your car broke down and your girl's kind of texting you crazy and oh my gosh, I have to pull out my phone and make 15 stories a day and be creative. How the fuck are you going to be a $10 million CEO? You're not. How the fuck are you going to be a $10 million CEO?
Bro,
It's
he's
so
angry.
selfish. It's dead ass so selfish. Like, oh man, oh this other person has it so easy. No, they don't. Oh, John Mark has it so easy. No, I don't. Bro, it's harder to maintain your distinctiveness, bro. Even when I came down to Miami, everyone that I meet here and
Wait,
there, I'm
so
like,
I have to put out more videos to maintain my distinctiveness. If I don't, then I'm gonna merge with the surrounding. Ah, so I have to put in more work now. The more work I do, the more work I have to do in order to maintain my distinctiveness. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. That's what I want. I just want God to test me more and more and more and more and more and more.
oh, bro, why don't you just like assimilate and be just like us? Oh, why don't you join the more levels you go up, the harder it is. The harder it is to maintain. Look what Christian just said. Look what happens when you try to fake the distinctiveness. It all comes crashing down. Can't cheat the game. You can't cheat the game. If you're looking at somebody and it looks like they're cheating the game, what they're in for is way worse than any of the reward that they could ever get, right? So I'm going to finish reading the rest of this, and then I'm going to go into kind of what I actually have to say. I'm going to restart right here. We all know that distinctiveness, originality, is valuable. We are all taught to be yourself. What I'm really asking you to do, and there's a reason why I'm reading this twice, is to embrace and be realistic about how much energy does it take for you to maintain that distinctiveness? The
Mm,
world wants you to be typical in 1,000 ways it pulls at you. Don't let it happen. You have to pay the price for your distinctiveness, and it is worth it. The fairy tale version of be yourself is that all the pain stops as soon as you allow your distinctiveness to shine. That version is misleading. Being yourself is worth it, but don't expect it to be easy or free. You'll have to put energy into it continuously. The world
mm,
will always try to make Amazon, the world will always try to make you, the world will always try to make me, the world will always try to make all of the greats more typical, to bring us into equilibrium with our environment. It will take continuous effort, but we can and must be better than that, right?
better.
So I want to ask you guys, okay? Have you ever felt like you've lost that like that authentic expression you used to
Hmm.
have as a kid? Like deadass, I want you to think like how long has it been since you like, I don't know about me, but every time, like, if I like checked into like a hotel with my family, I would sprint down the hall. When's the last time you did that?
Mhm.
Right? When's the last time you just like went out in public? And I was thinking about this the other day, right? I was walking to Publix, literally right in front of me. I have just my laptop right here, and I have this view right in front of me, and Publix is down there. And there was a fence beside me. This happened like 3 or 4 days ago. And I left my phone. Sometimes I like to go on walks where I leave my phone here. And it's always weird. I'm going down the elevator and I feel like this detachment. And that's how I know it's bad. I'm like, ugh. Oh, why do I feel this detachment from my phone, right? So I like to go on walks and I always come back and I feel so good when I've done that. But I was walking to Publix, da da da. I'm just kind of like people watching. I'm looking at the people. I'm like, wow, half of these people are robots. And I see this fence and I just have this intrinsic feeling. And it was like, jump over the fence. And then there was like this correction in me, and it was like, no, 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 no. You have to walk, and you have to like go around it like a normal person. I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna jump over the fence. So I just like hopped the fence. And then I was like, huh. It gave me this weird feeling of like, why do I trap myself in this box? As stupid as it sounds, like, why do I trap myself in this box? Like, why do we create these false laws and rules about us of like, oh, I can't talk to that girl. I can't say that. Oh, we're in the
Hmm.
elevator. Well, no one else is talking. I might as well not talk. Why don't you be the person? It takes more energy, it takes more effort, but why don't you be the person to show distinctiveness? No outcome needed for the conversation. Be like, oh, glad you're watching. Hey, where do you live? Where are you coming from? It catches people off guard, but what that does is it continues to charge and make your energy shine to make you more distinctive, right?
Hmm.
How long has it been since you've genuinely been curious and like asked a stranger a question because it looked like they were more experienced in an area than you? I remember when I was a kid, if I saw something, I was like, yo, I asked the question, no matter how outlandish or weird it might be. How long has it been since that? The world has created this like muteness within us where we're like, oh, we can't do that anymore, right? Ray Sean said, literally why I bought a new skateboard at 29. It's the same thing if you guys watched my vlog the other day where I did like the Sunday morning and I was doing the handstand push-ups on the dip bar. I'm like, who the fuck says I can't walk around this gym barefoot? Like I've created these fake rules. Like I dead ass all like I like to squat barefoot, like toes out. I feel so much better. I'm like, who says I can't do that? Right? Like I can be distinctive. Oh, no one else has their shoes off. And what the fuck?
Exactly.
But I feel like I've
Exactly.
created within myself these like parameters, and I'm someone who has the ability to exercise a lot of free will. But even me, oh, I can't make that video. I haven't seen it before. And right, like, oh, I can't do this. No one else has done it before. Okay, that's an authentic idea, right? So I really want you to ask yourself, like, when was the last time you actually zoomed out? You'll even find it when you're driving, when you're in scenarios like zoom out of your conscious bag of your bag of instincts and look at yourself and be like, I am a human being on a floating rock that has so many talents and powers to do whatever I want. When have I actually like exercised that will? And a lot of times you'll realize you just go through the day so monotonous and mundane. Oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this.
Exactly.
When we're children, we question why. We're so curious. Why? Why did I do this? Why does this happen? But then we get to the point where we're so trapped up in like, no success, and this kid has an SVJ, and oh, this girl said this, da, 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 and then we don't even zoom out. Every pretty girl you see, there's a million of them just like her. Doesn't matter if it was your dream girl, there's a million of them. She can be replaced so easily. That opportunity, more will come by you, right? But once you start to look at opportunities instead of being like, no, I can't do this, and looking for ways out, and you're like, oh shit, okay, I may not be that smart in that area, but who says I can't do that? There's no law stating that I can't do that. I'm just telling myself that I can. Right? And then we go through all these times over and over, I can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. And you're making these decisions subconsciously. Can't post that, can't say that, can't do that. You don't even know. And so you don't even go back and analyze like your game footage of the day. Half of you guys were so monotonous, you don't even know what happened yesterday. If I asked you to walk me through your entire day with detail, all the different emotions that you felt, you'd be like, um, well, it would take you a long time to compile this, right? And this is why I did a lot of the journaling and all these things so I could capture my emotions and go back over them, right? And I'm not telling you guys to become like autistic retards and be like, calculating, what am I doing? I'm not telling you to do that, right? But I want you to be
Autistic
aware
retards.
of how you're going through the
I
day.
have a quick say to say about my distinctiveness. I dropped out of college in third year when I only had 1 year left to get my degree, but I dropped out because I knew the degree is bullshit and I was never gonna use it. And I'm on this entrepreneurial path. Not really entrepreneurial, but
Hey,
this is where the money
right? I'll give
is.
you guys
This
another
is where the
example.
freedom is. And I wanna work. I am prepared. I have already worked for it when nobody has told me to. It isn't like I'm starting from scratch, but yeah. So I had to put in so much energy, so much work for so much time, relentlessly, to prove my distinctiveness to me, to actually drop out. There was so much friction, so
I'll say it
much
like this because I'm looking at it.
opposing force, just so much everything. It was so hard. There were so many layers after layers. Everybody phone calling me and saying me, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But I was like, no, fuck you, I'm gonna do this. I am. There is no other life for me. I have been born into this planet. I'm gonna die one day and I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want in between. So, all I'm saying is this is absolutely true. To actually maintain your distinctiveness and to not merge with the surroundings. And there are degrees to merging. It's not that just once you die you merge. If you're not maintaining your distinctiveness, you're partially merged with others. You're partially just like others. You're not unique if you're not working to be unique. And so yeah, there was a lot of work to prove my distinctiveness to myself by dropping out of college in third year. Right like 1 month before my final exams.
When Cry came down here and he stayed with me, for a long time, I would always pray before like my meals and stuff, right? And so then he comes down here and like we're starting eating. And he's like, "Doggy," he's like, "We gotta pray over the meal." And I'm like, "You're right." And I was like, "I haven't even thought like when did I lose that and stop doing it?" And it was like nobody else in my life
Just a second, I'll be back.
before they eat. So I'm like, I just autonomously, what I do? I
Autonomously.
join the equilibrium of those around me. I just join the equilibrium of those around me, and I didn't even notice it. Right? And then he gets down there, and then the next meal comes by, and I sit down, and I start eating. He's like, "Doggy," he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, we gotta pray, right?" And so then the next time, because he was around me as well, we go eat again after we train, and we sit down, and he's about to start eating. I'm like, "Doggy," I'm like, "We gotta pray, right?" And so it's very, very easy to get in this just autonomous over and over and over where you do the same thing and you start to join the equilibrium of those around you. Why? Because tons of humans all together create this collective energy. That's the masses, right? That's where the herd is going. If you're the black sheep, but there's no mirror, there's no self reflection, it's very easy to look at all the white sheep around you and be like, that must be the white sheep too. How often do you look at yourself, especially if you're going the same direction as them, but they might all be going off a cliff? How often do you stop to be like, wait, where are we going exactly? Why am I following all these people exactly? Right? But most people, they don't take their head out of the fucking what's right in front of me, what's right in front of me, to like stop and like, wait a second, what's going on here? Right? And this will become such a valuable trait if we can do this, right? We lose this because the world strips it away from us, okay? The
No, no, no,
world
no, no,
makes you
no.
think.
No, 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 no. I disagree with these words. Even though I understand what he means, I will not use these words that the world takes it away from me. You can't be pointing fingers at anybody because I stopped doing the work. That's why my distinctiveness stopped. That's why I started merging with the surroundings because I stopped doing the work. The world is not to be blamed for anything. The world is not the cause of your problems. You are the cause of your problems. You are the cause of everything. And so I will point fingers at me and nobody else. Absolute accountability. That is the most competent mindset for me.
That the free will that you once had must be stomped out, right? It makes you think that your ideas will never work the way you want them to. But I argue from a different perspective, okay? If an idea is inside of you, it's authentic as long as you manufactured the origin, right? As
Mm.
long as you manufactured the origin, right? Because if I look at one of you guys and I say, yo, don't think about the beach, what do you think about? You think about the
Beach.
beach, right? And I say, yo, don't think about a Lamborghini. What do you think about? The
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini, right? Now, even though your mind has like created the picture of that idea, you still know the origin of that thought. I gave it to you, right? A true, authentic idea, in my eyes, must be brewed inside of your soul. It must be deep rooted within your brain. And now,
What a fucking view perspective to look at it. An original authentic idea is something that is brewed within you, that is manufactured within you. As long as its origin is within you, it is authentic. Authenticity.
of course, we can take
Rooted
like
within you.
inspiration from external stimuli, and that can give you a foundation to create your ideas, right? Obviously, every single one of us is pushed and pulled in each direction by stimuli, how we grew up, traumas that we had, things that we like what happened to us, what was withheld from us, right? Pain and all suffering, all these different things that were created, okay? But the true nature of a thought that's authentic should be personal to you, right? Now, genuinely think back into your life right now, like actually do this exercise with me, and think like, when was the last time you made a decision to do or execute on something that was created right within you? That was almost like foreign to everyone else, where you felt like you were going so against the grain that you were
Mm.
like, is this even work? Like, I don't even know. Think about
Dropping
it.
out of college.
A lot of you are gonna be like, I don't really know. Like,
What was that expression? Man? I want to see that again.
you're gonna be like,
Ah,
I don't really know. Like,
I
because
don't really
you
know.
just go through your day and you might be like, oh, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm gonna build my coaching business. Da da da. But like, you saw so many other people do that, right? And I'm not dogging you guys, being like you're not special. The whole entire point of this presentation is that each of you are already a luxury brand. You were born with that special thing inside of you, right? But I'm trying to help open up the perception of why it's not being expressed the way that you want it, right? So, when was the last time you made a decision to do something that was created within you, right? That was created from pain, that was created from pleasure, that was created from desire, right? Etc. Think about it. And then, when did you actually act on that idea while creating your own rules of the game, right? We always
The
talk about
thing which another thought I had is the fact that he is using this language to communicate. I can understand it. It means the listeners, his clients level is also at least this much that they can understand the language he is saying. And I don't just mean English, I don't even mean the vocabulary or the phrases. I mean a level of thought of this realm where you think this way, where you speak this way, where you get ideas by listening to this, just like I'm getting. And I'm entertained by this. I am invested in this. I have my original thoughts after listening to this. When he says distinctiveness, I have my own view on it. When he says the idea needs to be brewed inside of you for it to be authentic, it needs to be manufactured, rooted within you. I get that. And I have ideas of my own. So I mean, his clients' levels is also at least this much such that they can understand this language and then amplify it, grow the ideas which John is giving them.
Other things, you'd be like,
Insane.
I'm gonna get in the gym. Ooh, like I remember thinking
There
this
are levels.
when
There are levels to clients as well. Not everybody who can just pay is a good client. You don't just want anybody who can pay.
I was always very, I wouldn't call it like placebo, but I would create these little things within my head, almost to the sense of like, oh, if I um if I get this locker at the gym, it's gonna be a good workout. And then if someone took it, it's gonna be a bad workout, right? Or if I tie my cleats in this certain way, I'm gonna ball out. But like if I don't do that, it's gonna be bad. If I wake up and I have a spoonful of honey and I do a stretch starting with the left side, I was very methodical like this, right? And as I started creating the aggression talks and stuff like that, I had realized I kind of lost that in my life, and I think I got that from my dad is very, very detail oriented. He's like very OCD. He has like very, very processed. Every time he comes home, he puts sneaker balls in his shoes and he hangs his shirt up nicely, like all of these things, right? Now it didn't lead to him making a bunch of money or anything, but there's been good and bad parts about that, right? There's been parts of where my dad, if he gets a tiny little scratch on his truck, his day is ruined and he's an asshole for the next week, right? Now, I've taken that part and I've seen how that's affected his relationship with my mom. I've seen how that's affected his relationship with me when I was younger. And I was like, see, I don't want to do that. I don't want to let something very insignificant
Very.
destroy other people's lives around me because of that. And so
Hmm.
I've decided, I'm not going to take that. Like 2, 3 months back, the valet at one of my favorite restaurants here pulled a brand new Rolls Royce into the back of my Ferrari. And it was on my birthday. And now the valets in Miami, they be scamming, right? They can't do anything. They're all gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, that was you," like that didn't happen, right? Now I could have been pissed. I could have cursed. Everyone saw it. And, like literally, everyone was lined up outside the restaurant. It sounded like somebody got hit in a football stadium. They were like, "Ooh!" as I was getting out of the car, and I just looked at it. No, it wasn't terrible. Like I could still drive the car and everything. And I was like, I was like, "Don't worry about it," right? I was like, "Don't worry about it." And now if you fast forward, 3, 4 months later, it's fixed. Did it cost me money? Yes. Did I have to drive around with, a big old scratch and my bumper kind of broken for a while? Yeah. But would it have been worth me causing an entire scene, arguing with everyone, and
Hmm.
ruining a bunch of people's night, and then ruining my own mood over that?
I agree with that. There is a price you're paying either way. You either give away the money in your bank and then get it fixed, and then give away a slight bit of your experience with the car to have it slightly broken. I don't exactly get what he said, what happened to the Lamborghini. But, or you're gonna pay the price of, you're gonna give away your peace, the environment, the peace basically. And you're gonna cause an argument and it's gonna be occupied in your mental space. I would much prefer to just give away money from just take it, man. There is infinite money in the world. Just take it. Fuck you, just shut up. Stay quiet. There's enough things going on in my head. I can't be bothering to argue about crashing into my Lamborghini. Just fuck off.
I don't think so. So I'm very meticulous with the way that I drive. I always drive other people's cars the way that I would want my car to be driven. That's something that my dad has instilled within me, right? I'm always, if I go to someone else's place, I'm always thinking about, how would I want this person to act within my spot, right? I know people that'll come to my place and they'll just like, they'll treat it like they've never fucking been raised to do anything, right? They're messing with the fucking air, the thermostat, they're doing all these things. And I'm like, yo, I would never go into your house and like dictate what I'm gonna do with your stuff, right? Because I've developed this consciousness
Hmm.
from my dad, right? But I've had the ability to create my authentic version where I've seen, okay, but I'm not gonna be a dickhead about it and ruin someone's day because of it. I'm going to be conscious of it. I'm going to be aware of it. I'm going to make sure I can do my best. But the things that are out of my control, I'm not going to try and force them because I've seen a lot of success that could have happened to my dad, hardest worker I know, not happen because he thinks he can force an outcome. And we know from transurfing that the greatest principle, you cannot control life. All you can control is your state of mind within things. I couldn't control that the valet pulled his car or the Rolls Royce into my car. What could I control? How I reacted to the situation, right? I could have ruined my relationship with the people there at that. I maybe could have gotten my money out of it, but ruined my relationship with the people at Mila, acted like a douchebag. Maybe somebody recorded me and posted it on the internet. They're going to, all these different things that come into play. Maybe nothing happened and I was just like a dickhead, right? But I'm constantly thinking and I'm trying to be aware because I've created my own authentic version of this, right? But what I was trying to get at
Huh. Come on.
that, you know, I would I would have all these little like nuances where I'm like, or these little like things that were like placebo, where I thought, oh, if I get this locker, if I tie my shoe this way, right? And when I got into business, I was very, very, very much so like, oh, I have to do it this way, have to do it this way. Oh, if I mess up, and then I was like, wait a minute, even if these things throughout my life have been like not real, right? Even if it's basically like the sugar pill where you think it's doing something and that's
Hmm.
why it does something. Even if getting that one locker number 23 in the Crunch Fitness when I would go there at the same time made me feel like I was going to get a crazy bump, it still worked because I believed that it would. And I was like, why don't I do things different? Why don't I take the things that I've learned from people that I like, but the things that I'm trying to change about myself that are unique or weird or like different, why don't I make those the things that are actually going to lead to my success, right? And voila, look what happened, right? I was so, the reason I posted my first few YouTube videos on YouTube and I didn't post them on Instagram is because all of the things that I was posting, like, I was still scared of what people were going to think about it, right? And I posted it on YouTube and I watched the video back and I was like, man, I was able to just like get all of my thoughts out there. I didn't have to think about, oh, is this girl that I want? Is she gonna watch it and think I'm corny? Is this gonna happen? Is this gonna happen? Is this gonna happen? And it allowed me to just be completely myself, right?
Exactly.
It allowed me to just be completely
That's
myself.
why I'm recording over
I
here.
know I was very
That is why I'm recording on YouTube. To just be myself and have some time to get my thoughts out there.
motivated by the hate, right? But it took time for me to break out of that and understand. Like I've been in this situation before. Okay, so I want you to think like, how many times have you actually created your own rules? Was it a rule in life that if I got locker 23, I was going to have a crazy bump? No, but I kind of created that rule, and the world kind of accumulated and grew around that rule that I created for myself. Okay? Now, it's probably few and far between where you can find decisions that truly came from your heart, but that is because you have let the world set your equilibrium and you have started to assimilate to that equilibrium. In short, you've basically given up the fight to keep yourself as in a regular. And that, guys, is why you've not yet received massive rewards. Massive rewards come to dreamers, they come to visionaries, and they come to artists. Okay? But not just those who dream, think, or create, but to those who actually act on their creation over and over and over again, regardless of what people outside think. You know how
Hmm.
many ideas that each of you have had that could have been a $10 million company, and even ideas that I had in the past where I thought back and like now that I know business, I'm like, damn, I actually had something with that. I just let the external world, the other things around me, convince me that I couldn't do it. Now,
Bro, I'm at a point. I really don't. I give very, very, very less fucks about what others say about me or think about me. I'm just like, if you're not someone I want to be like, I'll just say, fuck you, I don't want to listen to you. Keep saying whatever you want to say.
some might say, well, that's all part of the plan. It is all part of the plan, but you know, Jeff Bezos also said like, in life you only get a couple of chances to like hit that grand slam, right? And maybe you're given seven
Hmm.
in your life. I'd rather swing and hit the first round rather than getting all the way to number six or number seven and almost running out of opportunities, because it truly is true. Like if you ask George, I don't know if he's in this call right now, but like George has massively shown me, you know, you only really get a couple of big opportunities that will completely change the trajectory of your life. And that's why a lot of people who are extremely successful, it seems like they've become successful overnight. It wasn't that they became successful overnight. It was that they practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, and then eventually, when the grand slam pitch was thrown at them, they had enough skill to actually knock it out of the park, right? And so a lot of you guys, number one, you're not even being authentic enough. You're not even self-aware enough to know that the balls are being thrown at you because you're too busy doing what? Looking at the fucking crowd, and then you get hit by the ball and you're like, "Oh, look what life's doing to me." Motherfucker, that was the opportunity. That was literally the opportunity. And your ass is complaining because you just got hit by it. Because you're looking at the fucking crowd. You're looking at yourself on the Jumbotron for your little 3, 5 minutes of fame. I'd rather have the post game interview than be on the Jumbotron for 2 fucking minutes, right? You're that one dude who's like, the highlight of his life is like, no, I was in the stands and the camera panned to me. What a fucking dweeb, right? I wouldn't want that to be the highlight of my life. A lot of guys, they look back on their life and like, genuinely, I was talking with some people and like talking about, like the highlight of their life, and this one dude was talking about like, he won some like award in high school, and that was, and he was like a 40-year-old dude, and I was like, that's the highlight of your life? That's the
Hmm.
highlight of your life? And a lot of us, like, we don't think about it. Like, when I realized this is, I always told my parents I wasn't going to college, but I got so fed up with it. And a lot of us, like, we don't think about it. Like, when I realized this is, I always told my parents I wasn't going to college.
What did he say?
Think about it. Like, when I realized this is, I always told my parents I wasn't going to college, but I got so fed up with it. So fed up with my parents, everyone asking me, "Oh, where are you going to go to college? Where are you going to go to college?" Da 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 da, and all the, like, the people, my parents' friends at church, or like anytime I would talk to one of my friends' parents, and just that look of disappointment, right? And it was like, bro, I'm just gonna fill out a college application. Like, they almost got me. Like, they almost got me, right? And I remember I was filling out this application. The very first one I went to fill out was like KSU, like the college near where I lived. And it was like, what are the three greatest achievements of your life? And I remember thinking, and they're like, the few that I came up with
Huh? Huh? Huh?
was, what are the three greatest achievements of your life? And I remember thinking, and then like the few that I came up with, I was like, holy shit, like this is all my life has brought forth in 17 years. I was like, I won this mountain biking race, and I was like, I did like this many pull-ups. I was like, what else in my life would I be like actually proud of being like, yeah, I did this. I was like, damn. And I really thought, and I was like, 17 years. And I can't even be like, oh, I led my team to this championship, or I was, I was a professional at this age. I was just like, all of my biggest accomplishments in my head because of what I value are like cloud or how many girls I slept with and like all this bullshit. And I was like, damn, I really am a bum. I was like, damn. But what did that take? It took me being honest with myself and being aware, right? Because most of the time we only find value in like what we measure as valuable. Okay, so it's like before you guys, let's just say, for example, you wake up at 4 a.m. and you've done that, for 4 or 5 months straight, and you really feel on the inside. Maybe you wouldn't say it, but you feel on the inside like, man, there's a really nice sense of accomplishment that I've been able to do this, right? Now, if you told that to yourself like 4 years ago, and you're like, bro, you woke up at 4 a.m. for 4 months. Maybe if you were a degenerate like I was, you'd be like, what the fuck? I don't give a shit. Like, who cares, right? Because right now, what matters to you is the personal development, like the self development level. But let's say back then, maybe you were only worried about like, what people thought of you, or like, how many girls you had, or how much clout you had on Instagram, or, what shoes you were wearing, or what kind of car you had at school, right? Like, you would have been like, wake up at 4 a.m. That doesn't fill out any of these chemicals. I don't give a shit. Right? And so you have to think about, okay, where am I actually trying to put my value? And once you start to realize that, and you realize you can play life by your own rules, you start to realize, again, that is why you have not yet received massive rewards. Massive rewards come to dreamers, they come to visionaries, and they come to artists, but not just those who dream, not just those who create, but those who actually act on their creation over
Hmm.
and over and over again. Right? See, having the best idea is not where you win. Actually executing on the idea is where you win. And I can tell where each of you guys' mental health is just by what you post versus what happened on our one-on-one call, right? I think one of my biggest talents, and I think that this comes from my mom, is like, for a guy, I have a lot of emotional intelligence. I wouldn't say that my IQ is the highest. I really push myself, right? But I think why I've been successful is, I'm able to recognize patterns, and I
Patterns.
can see the difference between personalities, right? And that's come from like I've lived a lot of life. Like I've lived like, you know, 14 to like 17. I was selling weed, smoking weed. Like all my friends were like selling drugs. Like that was the life I was living, right? But I also grew up country in Alabama, like just building tree houses and zip lines and fucking getting hurt and like getting a bunch of injuries. Like I've lived all these different types of lives, and I've had tons of different friends, so I'm able to relate to a bunch of different people, right? But when I'll see you guys, and we'll get on a one-on-one call, and then like I'll see how you're acting in your stories, and I'll be like, country. I can tell where your mental health is. Bennett, by the story that he's posting, I know exactly how he feels. And he might, he's gotten to the point where he bought my program, then he bought my program again. He bought our elite. He's come to a bunch of events. So like, he has my number at this point, and he'll be like, yo, can I call you in a bit? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I have 10, 15 minutes. He'll call me. And sure enough, what he'll tell me about is the exact same things that I was thinking in my head, right? And I'm not saying this from like a sense of like ego, but like when you've taken 2,000 calls and you've seen it happen over and over and over and over and over again with like, there's only so many different archetypes of people,
Hmm.
right? I start to recognize the patterns. I start to see like, pattern. When this happens, this happens. When this happens, this happens, right? And so How many stories are you posting? How creative are you being? How much passion are you putting into your videos? I want you to ask yourself, are you really being a coach, or are you just going through the motions? Okay? And I think a lot of you guys forget the fact that, think about a coach of like a sports team, okay? The
Hmm.
coach is the leader of the team. The energy starts with him, right? So a lot of you guys are you're oh man, why aren't these people buying from me? Ah, why aren't these people DMing me? Ah, why are my videos not getting more views? Ah, that's literally what you're doing on the inside of your head, okay? But the energy starts with you. If a coach has a team and the team is down, if you see that coach on the sidelines with their head down, feeling sorry for himself, ain't no way the team's coming back, bro. They lost. They lost. All he did was accelerate the loss. Accelerate the loss. So you're sitting here and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna coach men on how to transform themselves. I'm gonna help men with their mindset. I'm gonna help men with their business. Yet you're like, oh, life's hard. I can't post these stories. Motherfucker, you're the coach. That's where the money flows. So you heavy is the head that wears the crown. Oh, I can't post stories because that's the recumbent loop, right? Life feeds you difficulty. Based on how you respond, it feeds you back the reward. So life feeds you difficulty. You respond like a bitch. You respond like someone who needs to be coached rather than someone who is the coach. And so life feeds you back the reciprocal of, you ain't ready yet. You're not ready for the money. And then you
Hmm.
guys are like, oh, John Mark, I need help with my mindset. No, no, no. Again, life threw you the ball. You were looking at the crowd. How do the people react? Guess what? You're a black sheep. Your goal is to distinguish yourself from the crowd. So if the crowd acts one way, and you're like, well, that's how I should act too. Guess what? You're not ready. You're not ready. You're not ready, right? And like some of you guys can like laugh, but I'm being dead ass, okay? I'm being dead ass. Picture this scenario. You're telling me you're going to coach other men. Meanwhile, your mental health and your mindset is bad right now, so you
Hmm.
can't post stories. You can't wake up early. You're in a, oh, John Mark, I'm in a bad headspace right now. I'm in a bad headspace. The whole goal is everyone else is in a bad headspace too. Can you be in a bad headspace and still get that shit done? If you're in the army, do you want your commander to be someone who's just a fucking hard ass when you're not getting shot at? Imagine your commander's a fucking hard ass. He's a G. You respect him. And then the second you're starting to get shot at, he's like, ah! That ain't no fucking commander, right? The commander, that's the motherfucker who's like, nah, no. Now, he might get shot first because he's not retreating. But again, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Do you want to be the one who stands up? Or do you want to be the one who cowers under the leader?
I
When
knew
you're the leader, does it take more energy? Is there fear? Do you have to do you have to really push and put
I was thinking about this for quite some days regarding it's not just the stuff I post online which is bringing me clients. It's the stuff I do behind the cameras as well. How I'm living my life, how I'm dealing with challenges, how I am coaching myself through these difficulties. How I'm coaching myself because I am my own client. I am the master client and I am the master coach. And how I'm coaching myself directly reflects on how many clients I'm gonna get, how much money I'm gonna make, how I'm gonna be a coach, how good of a coach I'm gonna be, and yeah, everything. And my content reflects how I am behind the camera. So I better start coaching myself. I better start taking upon challenges intentionally. That's who I've always been. That's why I've been able to transform myself. Because I am the fucking G. I am the fucking G. I can do this. This is why I'm the coach. Even behind the cameras.
effort into your life in
Not
order
even. But I am who I am behind the cameras. This is why people pay me to coach them, to tell them what to do.
To make yourself distinctive? Absolutely. But then guess who gets the praise when everybody comes back from the war? You do. You do. Right? So do you want to get the praise because you were brave? Because you saw the darkness and the way that your state of being didn't change? Or do you want to have someone else who's like, oh, it's okay. It's gonna get better. Right? Now, we all struggle with this. We all struggle with this. I'm speaking to myself as much as I'm speaking to you guys. Okay? It's never gonna go away. 100K a month, it's gonna feel the same. 500K a month, gonna feel the same. Million a month, why have I not hit a million a month yet? Obviously, I am not ready. Okay? I'm not ready.
Oh,
When I'm ready, you're gonna see the million a month screenshot, right? I'm ready for 400K a month, but I'm bored of that. Why? I've started to let myself become the equilibrium of what's around me.
mm,
Oh, well, the other dudes who are making a million a month, they're not journaling, they're not making this content. Let me try to check. Ooh, what's my number one principle been the entire time? Separate yourself, separate yourself, separate yourself. Expand on your distinctiveness. Expand on your distinctiveness, right? Andre says, real one for recognizing that. Bro, I'm the first one to call my own fault, right? Bible verse my mom always used to tell me is she's like, don't talk about the speck in your brother's eye and ignore the log in your own, right? I'm the first one to like, the only reason I can speak about this with conviction and it doesn't seem fake is because like I say the same shit to myself. I write the same shit in my journal. I talk way more harsh to myself than I speak to you guys. I love you guys. Y'all are all of my brothers, right? Way more harsh to myself. Okay? Like I beat the like my most of my days are like torment. But I need that. This is how like I have to operate like this. Some days are
mm,
great. I put on a face. It looks like everything is amazing, but like I know what it's like. I know what it's like to watch people and you just see the external and you watch the stories. You're like, oh my gosh, their life is so good. Their life is. It's not like that. But that's the beautiful part. Once you realize, right? It's a little bit easier for me now. It's always going to be difficult, but it's a little bit easier for me now that I've realized that that is the burden of the leader is that the more you continue to grow, the harder it's going to be. The more you continue to grow, the harder it's going to be. So every time there's hard times, it doesn't matter, right? Oh, well, everyone else, all my friends who are in college, like, they're only having to swim in a 1 foot wave. Meanwhile, I'm getting fucking crushed by this tsunami. It's very, very easy to be like, oh, woe is me, woe is me. But I'm like, well, that's what I wanted. That's what I signed up for, right? That's what I signed up for. And you have to understand, if you have this massive goal and there's a 1 foot wave coming at you, you might want to scratch your head and be like, wait a second. Why are my problems the same size as everyone else's if I want to distinguish myself from everyone else? This doesn't make sense, right? The problem is the green flags. The problem is now it's difficult, but the trick that I use every single time, I make myself more aware. I look back on myself from an external. I'll literally sometimes I'll like put my freaking head out there in the sky, and I'll just imagine myself sitting on this, on my balcony in the morning reading, being like, oh, I'm so tired, and I just picture myself as a little video game character.
what I'm thinking about what he just said about having bigger problems and then complaining, why do other people have such small? Because I signed up for this. I dropped out of college. It was the most stressful time for me. It was the hardest decision I've ever made. And now I need something harder than that, which stresses me more than that, which is a bigger problem than that, which has a bigger opposing force than that, in order for me to grow. In order for my next level to unlock, I need something harder than that. And what is that? I don't know. I don't know.
And I'm like, if you have a character in the video game, do you ever experience emotion? Like, does that character ever experience emotions? You don't give a fuck if that motherfucker's tired. You don't know. I'm still gonna make him run. Anytime I play Call of Duty, right? It's like, you know how you can only run for a couple seconds and they lose their stamina? I'm holding down the sprint, like, run, keep running, because I don't feel them getting tired, right? When you zoom out and you look at yourself, you can realize the same thing. Like, okay, My brain is capable of so much more than that. Okay, I woke up. I used to use this all the time. I'm tired, physically and mentally, but my body's not going to die. My body's not going to collapse. Right. So if I zoom out and I look at myself, all that's happening is that there's a chemical in my brain that's sending stimulus to my brain to be like, this hurts, or I'm tired, or I'm this. And then I'm like, well, okay, well, it's not going to die. So, well, I can literally complain, or I can just keep pushing. I can complain, or I can keep pushing. And I
Hmm.
get it, easier said than done, right? But if you can start to train yourself to more often than not,
I'm pushing myself right now. I have to push myself for 23 more minutes. Let me just add that to the timer. It's gonna be 30 minutes. Timer 30 minutes. I have to push myself for 30 minutes more. It's hard. I don't want to do this,
make
but
yourself
I
aware,
will.
be like, whoa, 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 take captive of your thought before it takes you over. You'll realize you'll dead ass. Like I used to make those videos, like, smoking weed will give you superpowers. And all the people that would comment, like, fucking dumbass, it doesn't give you superpowers. Like, all I need to know is, like, that's all you have to tell me, right? Is it gonna make you fly? No, but all of you who have been through this, like, you genuinely start to develop this superhuman consistency where literally you only look at the bright side of everything that happens. Oh no, this happened for a reason. Oh, this happened for a reason. Oh, this was good. Yeah, it probably that girl was probably gonna be bad for me to start. Didn't need her anyways. No, 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 whatever, whatever. And you just start to boom, 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 hop from one beat to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. That's when you really start to develop that flow, and you start to get this feedback of, oh, okay, every idea that I create that's authentic to me, every idea that's real within me, even if I'm a bit unsure about how it's going to work, I trust the fact that I'm going to figure it out, right? Like I was watching Batman with my dad. This is just like a random thought, and it was it wasn't the Dark Knight, right? Maybe it was after. It was the one with Bane, right? And so when they're banishing everyone, and they're like exile or death, right? And everyone chooses, some people are choosing exile, but then they just end up dying anyways. And I'm like, yeah, if you ask me, like, okay, do you want to be shot right now, or do you want to be dropped into like the shark infested waters? Now, I'm scared of sharks. Like that's probably my biggest fear is that I were to fall off like a cruise ship in the middle of the night in the ocean, and it's pitch black, and I have nothing to float on, and I have no idea what's under me. That's scary to me because it's like I always feel like I can find a way to there's always a good way out, even if it's difficult. But in that scenario, you basically just drop me in the middle of space, and you're helpless. You're helpless, right? I can swim, but then there's all these. That's my biggest fear. But I'm still gonna choose that over death because in my head I'm like, I'll figure it out. There's some way I'm gonna
Hmm.
figure it out. But a lot of you guys decide what not to actually die, but you're dying. Why? Because you're like, I'd rather assimilate to the equilibrium of those around me instead of continue to fight. Because I don't see a way out. But that's the point. Once you push yourself into positions where you don't see a way out, that's when you realize what you're capable of. Okay? And a lot of you have not actually gone through this. All right? The game is won in the moments that no one sees. How do you control your emotions in the darkness? The darkness is coming. It is inevitable. It's guaranteed. It doesn't matter what you accomplish, darkness is coming. But the game is won based on how you handle the darkness, contrary, and also how you handle the light. Do you use the darkness as a time to complain and use the light as a time to flaunt? Think about what do I actually mean by this? Every time it's going great for you, you're like, yeah, I deserve this. I'm the shit. Look what I've done. And every time it's difficult, because that's the contrary. All the people who are always flexing the hardest and self-exalting themselves the most in the times where everything's great are the biggest complainers. The biggest complainers when everything's not going their way, right? Or do you use the darkness as preparation and character building in order to be able to enjoy and push harder during the light? This is the cycle of life. It's inevitable. There's going to be darkness, there's going to be light. But what's not already determined is how you respond to it, okay? Do not, best advice I've ever heard in my entire life to this day. And when I was told it, I wasn't good enough to understand it, or I didn't have enough difficulty to understand it. But it has rang true in my head almost every single time something good or something bad happens, and I just repeat it over and over. Do not get too high in the highs, and do not get too low in the lows.
Hmm.
Our human bodies were created. Just that was the quote that I heard. Do not get too high in the highs, and do not get too low in the lows. Now I'm saying again, our human bodies were created to experience life and love it. But as Bezos mentioned earlier in his letter quoting Dawkins, we are all fighting entropy until we die. Most
Yep.
of you guys are submitting yourself to the temperature of your environment, and you're no longer fighting to regulate what you are supposed to be, which means you have mentally died. You've given up. You've said, I'm dead. And then your income, your status, everything that comes on the back of that is also going to hold the momentum as if you were dead. It's going to be standing in equilibrium around you, right? Do not let the world fight you into equilibrium with the rest of the others. It doesn't matter how close it is to you. It could be your business partner, it could be your parents, it could be your spouse, your girlfriend, it could be your best friend. No one has inside of them the exact thing that makes you special. And because of that, every person in this world will fight your spirit in order to dim your light so that theirs appears to shine brighter or at least equal to yours. Don't fall for this trap, no matter how right you may think the person is or how much you believe they care about you. I'm telling you guys, it's very easy to fall into this, right? Your parents can do this, and it's not unknowing. Like one of my biggest haters was my mom, but it wasn't because she didn't believe in me. It was because a mother's instinct is to keep their child from harm. And so all she wanted to do, and in the time, I hated her for it. Even though my mom set me up to live a life like this. She homeschooled me, made me read classical books, fucking beat the shit out of me when I disobeyed, like all these things that like made me who I am. Didn't let me have a phone till I was like 16, right? Didn't let me play video games, made me go outside, made me go do like dope. Like she allowed me to like grow up as like a man should grow up, right? But I hated the fact that she was like, you have to go to college. I hated the fact that she was like, no, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. So she was close to me, right? But you're the only one that can understand the vision inside of you. You're the only one that can read and decrypt the authentic ideas that are inside of you. So even the closest people to you that you think might know more than you, if they're not in the position that you want to be in, they can corrupt your vision, right? And so I think an amazing thing that I was able to do is like, I would watch people online and I would look at the areas of their life that I respected. For example, Alex Hermosi basically like mentored me when I was 21. I read his books every single night. I listened to every single podcast. He was one of the biggest reasons I stopped smoking weed because I finally found a way that I was like, oh, I think he's dope and all these things. But like, I look at like his on a day to day, I don't listen to jack shit he says about like his life philosophy, his nihilist view. I love his business principles, but just because I like one side of him, I over my dead body, what I want to be like. I don't value my family. I don't care about anything. When we die, all the chips go back to the middle. I think that that shit's retarded. But there's a lot of people who aren't aware enough to like, I like one thing about Hermosa, so I have to like everything. I like one thing about PBD, so I have to like everything, right? Make sure that you have enough wisdom to actually discern between what you want and what you don't want. Don't just start to idolize people. Take the value from them
Hmm.
where they can give value, but make sure that in other areas you're still staying authentic. Because I got plenty of inspiration from some people, but I think that the fault lies within a lot of you guys is when, like for example, there were people that I watched that like did their push-ups in the morning, but then they would also post like four things that like I didn't agree with. I like the push-ups inspired me, but I created my own twist on it, right? I created my complete own twist on it. right? I saw Sam Solik doing the car talks. I subscribed to Sam Solik when he had 12,000 subscribers. Like nobody was watching him. 12,000 subscribers. And I was like, man, these videos are kind of boring, but like this dude is super jacked. But I like the way he's talking in his car. And I was like, and I remember trying to film one of those while I went to the gym and like having it roll, and I was just like, this doesn't feel like me. But I was like, I like talking in my car. And so I started making the car talks after the gym. So I was inspired by one part, but I completely changed it and made my own idea. And then
Mm,
tons of people. I remember when I posted the "How to Conquer Your Inner Bitch" video, the one that went crazy. I was on YouTube and there were so many other videos that came from that title, and none of them did good. Why? Because they tried to imitate, but it didn't come from that authentic idea. You might have watched that video and gotten inspired, but you need to add your own sauce to it. You need to add your
mm,
own flavor. Make it not sitting in your car with your shirt off, yelling the same way someone else does, right? It's some people's personality. My personality has just been like brute, passionate emotion. Some of you guys, I've seen you try to make videos where like you talk like me, and it's just like it's not your style, right? Like Cry is very passionate. We have a similar style, but he like screams more than me. I just talk with a lot of weight, right? Now, when I try to do the scream thing, it also kind of comes off as a little bit corny for me. For Cry, it looks that's just his personality, right? So you have to know where to take things from people and
mm,
where to leave them. But the
100%.
only way for you guys to actually bring out the special luxury brand that's inside of all of you is to not corrupt yourself by trying to copy what everyone else is doing. That's not how you build a brand. A brand is unique, it is special, and each of you have that specialty inside of you. And this was just kind of the thoughts that I was having this weekend. I hope that was fire. I typed a little doc with some notes, and I'll send that to you guys as well. But a lot of that just like came straight from my heart, and I just kind of sat down and shared that with you guys. So I hope some of you can take value from that, because I know to me like those are the biggest things that allow me from people that are like in a better position than me, that I'm like, okay, it's like a reality check. And I'm not saying that you guys don't know these things, but sometimes like even me, I need to be told the shit that I already know and like called out. So, fuck, you're right, right? Because a lot of times we can make the excuse when we're battling it in our head. Our brain. I used to say this all the time. Your brain is the best salesman because it knows all of your objections and exactly how to handle them, right?
Mm,
And so it's really good to hear it from an external perspective. I'm going to answer this one last question that Thomas gave, and then I'm going to sleep. I went 10 minutes over, but I'll post this call right now, and I'll post the document. Thomas said, with raw, authentic ideas that come during our day, and we want to capture it as authentic, when do we decide whether to use that idea for a story or for an Instagram reel? A lot of times it's just like the bigger, you'll know. You should 100% know. You should be like, oh, this is going to be a reel, right? Because like the normal, like little mundane things, da 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 da, that should always be stories. And here's one thing that I realized on a call. One last quote. I heard this quote a couple years ago: is, in learning you teach, and in teaching you learn. And I didn't understand what it meant. But after building my business, making a few $1 million, and all of these things, I've started to realize like how beautiful it is. So I was on the, a one-on-one call with one of my students, and he was like, man, like I was finding it so difficult to like use the coach's frame and immediately execute on an idea and then post it. And he's like, and I realized that I don't have to actually post it. I just have to film the video. And I was like, yeah, that's what I meant, right? But in me teaching him, he learned, and in him learning, I taught and I learned a different perspective. I was like, oh, some people don't understand that. That like all it is getting that energy. Like if you're in the gym, I'm not saying if you have an idea, sit there, make the whole video, caption, description, this, edit it. No, just film the video, speak all the points that you want to speak, and then when you get home, chop it up and do that. You just need to capture the energy right there, right?
Hmm.
And so that's what I would do. Like you'll know when things are real, and a lot of things like you have to create your own swagger. Like you might look at me and I might post something that is I think is a good reel that for you it might be better as a story, right? Now, a lot of things like 90% of what we talk about is applicable through and through, but there should be that 10, 15, 20% where like you create your own swag and you're like, you're like, change this a little bit, do this a little bit, which is good. Now, you only get that ability once shit's working for you, right? If shit is not working for you, don't take executive function and be like, no, I'm gonna post 5 stories because don't do that shit, right? I'm gonna think that you're stupid, and then if you complain to me that you're not making money, I'm gonna be like, well, it sucks. But you have to understand how to create your own swagger within things, and it's just like anything else. When you're training, you learn the fundamentals first, and then once you start to become very, very competent and good, that's when you can start to kind of add in your own swag. But like, if you're training kickboxing and you're trying to do if you're trying to do a question mark kick, it's like first you got to learn the normal leg kick over and 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 over until it's great, and then you can start to add in some style that is your own. But I love you guys. I will see you guys throughout the week. If you didn't, I will post the video, but DM me. We have a couple of spots left for the VIP. Real quick, you guys can take a video and post it on your story, and I will hit you guys back. But for the VIP for the event, we have a couple spots. The reason why there's attendance tickets and then there's VIP tickets, right? The attendance costs money. The VIP also costs money. We don't really make any money on these events. I just dropped 15 racks on the house that we're gonna get. The yacht that I'm getting for the VIP costs like 8K. The dinner at Coat for everyone is like 10K. So I spend a ton of money. My friend Hudson, who owns the biggest clothing brand in e-com right now. He actually just called me 2 nights ago and said that they're going to crush $100 million in revenue this month, which is insane. He's going to be there getting ready to
Crazy.
speak. He's a fucking G. He's like 27 years old and he's going to be a fucking billionaire. Absolutely crazy. But we're going to have a bunch of guests there that are going to speak. Every single person who's come to this event has just skyrocketed afterwards. It's just a completely new experience to come to. So yes, it costs money and it's kind of annoying, but that's just I can't spend fucking $50,000 and lose another 40, right? So it's a great opportunity for you guys if you can come. The house is gonna be sick, but the reason why we only have limited spots for the VIP is because like we can only have like 15 people on the yacht, right? So if you want to just come and get the value, come and get the value. If you want to fucking ball out, spend more time with me, with George, with all these guys, you want to come on the yacht, you want to stay at the house, feel free. Any of you who fill out like the Thai form or whatever, I'm just texting you guys straight up from my number. So if you saw that post the other day, I'll also put it in the school for you guys. I know a couple of you still haven't gotten your dashboard duplicated. I'm working on creating a better system for that. We should be good tomorrow. I have a new guy coming on who's just going to be able to duplicate all of these. And a couple of you, I think there might have been 2 or 3 dashboards that went unupdated, and it's just like I said, I need to have a better system for it because sometimes I'll get off calls and the calls run over and I have another one-on-one call to get on, etc. But we're really making sure to make that tighter so nothing slips through the cracks, and I'll make sure that I have all those good for tomorrow. But I love you guys. I will see you guys next week. Like I said, tag me and post it on your story, and I will repost you. Let's keep crushing. Watch this back. I promise it's valuable. All of you are special. Be different. Differentiate yourself. See you guys. Peace. Man, how fulfilling is that? Um, so after I do those, I just feel very fulfilled. My energy goes up like crazy. That was one of them where obviously like nobody talked because I was just presenting the whole time. But a lot of times I'll do a straight up Q&A. Like people will ask things in there, and it'll be super sick. But they get access to these every single week on top of the one-on-one calls. It's just really really good accountability. We have hundreds of those, and that one was more mindset. I have ones that we go specifically over business, messaging, sales, content, story flow, everything that you would need to know to start and build a personal brand. But But I hope you guys found that valuable because most people charge for that, but I'm not scared to give things like that out for free. Reason being is because there's so much more where that came from, and most everyone else, if they gave their value out for free, they wouldn't have anything to sell you, quite frankly. Um, but that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg when it comes to 100x mindset. So um, we'll see. I should probably go to bed because I need to wake up early and do some cardio in the morning. But and I know this is going to be already super long video. Maybe I'll just start the vlog and make it tomorrow. Um, we'll see. But if you want to join this community, we have the community with the course aspect, and we also have the one-on-one coaching as well. A lot of guys come in, they want to invest in just the one-on-one with me, where you have a CRM that I've created for my team, set up specifically for you, weekly tasks, content trackers, sculpting your offer, creating your VSL, why to send traffic to a YouTube and not to a landing page. And it doesn't matter if you're in fitness, real estate, you have an agency, you do day trading. If you are creating a personal brand where you want to get more leads, sell high ticket packages, and teach some type of skill or information, 100x Mindset is the best in the game. And I say that confidently, not because we've generated the most revenue. There's plenty of guys who have generated more revenue than us, but with no testimonials, lots of chargebacks, very low profit. I hit $400,000 a month for the first time with about 40,000 followers, like 80 88% profit because I have to pay my closers, and the rest of that is just going straight to the business bank account. And so we are super efficient. We have over 250 testimonials, and like I said, I've got guys with 8 million followers who I've coached. You can check my testimonials on Instagram, and I've got guys with 300 followers who are making 50 grand. All that matters when you're selling high ticket is just having a few people. If you have 5 guys that buy a $3,000 package, you're at $15,000 a month already. So there's a lot of misconceptions with content, how much you need to post. People that are at 10K a month trying to do what guys at 200K a month are doing, and then wondering why their business doesn't scale. People making 10K a month thinking they need a DM setter or a sales team, and just all this bullshit. And I really try to sift through that and show and integrate to everyone exactly what is valuable for them and what they need so that they can have a direct blueprint to navigate and scale their business. If you want to see more information or get on the call with my team, you can click the first link in the description. I have a free training, an 8-hour free training video that's going to be sent to you, but you can also book a demo call to kind of get an understanding of our system, see the dashboard, see what we have to offer. Or you can shoot me a DM on Instagram, tell me a little about your business. Don't do that if you don't want to join, just because it's pretty easy for me to see based on what your profile looks like if you've posted it all and the message that you send me. But I'll hit you back with a voice memo and we can kind of chop it up about what the best solutions for you will be. And if that's the case, I look forward to seeing you in 100x mindset. And at the end of the day, I just really appreciate all of you guys who watch, and I put my heart and soul into putting all these videos out for you guys. And I'm excited to continue scaling and continue moving forward and continue pushing towards being the best in the game because I care the most about my clients. And as always, in a world full of weak minded men, stay aggressive.
Stay aggressive. Absolutely. Ah, all right. That was a good video. Now let's do what? Let's post it.